everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Lucy and here I am with the gorgeous Solo. He is one of 5 of our cheetahs here at the National Zoo Aquarium and he's the youngest, so he's almost 4. He turns 4 in November. Now Solo has a pretty cool story. As his name suggests, he was a solo birth cub, which is pretty rare with cheetahs. They're normally born in litters of about 3 to 5, so having the one was extremely rare. Solo, that's where his story gets even more interesting. You might just follow with him. Now Solo was actually raised with a dog, a Border Collie cross Belgian Malinois, and her name is Zama. She's just 2 weeks older than him. And they were together ever since they were about 1 month old, raised together. Now they were very much siblings, as I think if you have a sibling, you might agree, when you get to a certain age, you want to move on, start to kind of go away from your sibling a little bit more. And that's what we've done with these two. So Zama is now the proud big sister of a Labrador puppy, and then another Labrador as well with one of our staff members. And Solo, of course, is absolutely loving his attention from his keepers, and of course his guests as well. Now with his guests, that's what is part of our Meet a Cheetah program. So being part of our Meet a Cheetah program, that actually means that Solo is an ambassador cheetah, which means that we can bring guests in here, raise much needed awareness and funds for cheetahs, as they are the quickest declining big cat. There's only about 6,500 of them left in the world. So anything that we can do to help these guys is muchly appreciated. And we support 2 conservation funds here, Cheetah Outreach and Cheetah Conservation Fund. Solo is sniffing around. Now while he's moving, I'm going to try and talk about his body a little bit. So these guys are the quickest animals, the fastest animals. They're pretty impressive with that speed. These guys can reach up to about 110, 120 k's an hour. And they have a pretty amazing acceleration speed as well. From about 0 to 80, 100, they can get that speed in about 3 seconds. Now they're only maintaining that speed for about 30 seconds at a time, but it's definitely long enough for them to be considered a very, very successful hunter, if not the most successful in the big cat world at hunting. Now have a gorgeous look at his face when he comes past. If you guys saw those black tear marks down his eyes, those are kind of considered to be inbuilt sunglasses for cheetahs. They are daytime animals, so anything that they can get to help them with that glare of the sun when they're out in the wild, that's going to be great. That black tear mark down the eyes, it'll take in the brightness, the light and the sun, absorbing the glare, and it helps them to see basically through the glare of the sun. Cheetah's best sense is their eyesight. So these guys can see up to about 5 k's in really good detail. If you're from Canberra, it's about from the zoo to Telstra Tower away. Cheetahs are purely built for speed. If you can see up along his shoulders, his shoulder blades, they're called floating shoulders, so they're only attached by ligaments and muscles. And it means that per stride, they are covering about 8 meters. So per step, 8 meters. They're covering a lot of distance when they're running. And those awesome toenails, those toes, those claws, they're called semi-retractable claws. So quite like a dog, always out, always in contact with the ground. They do use them as running spikes so that they dig in, gain traction, pull themselves along. Pretty impressive. He's got that nice, kind of flat, oval-shaped tail. Oh, Solo, say hi. Solo. Oval-shaped tail, quite used like a rudder on a boat. Mid-stride, those guys can flick their tails, turn their bodies so that they can keep kind of chasing what they're chasing out in the wild. These guys are very streamlined animals, so when they're running they'll tuck their ears down, make their whole body streamlined so that they can just kind of glide through the wind, glide through the air and continue chasing it. Now I'm not too sure if you guys can see, but up around his shoulder makes his hair, it's what we call a mantle. So this mantle runs all the way down their backs and their bodies when they are little babies, and they're actually a pretty dark black colour when they're babies. Their spots are there, but as they get bigger, it expands out and they start to turn like this. Now, his black spots are actually a different length to his beige. You can kind of see it up in his mantle a bit. That's to help their outline of their bodies so that they're kind of a little bit broken up. Now, Solo absolutely loves this enclosure. He's only been in this enclosure for a couple months now, and it is also part of our Jamala Wildlife Lodge. I like to consider it as the penthouse enclosure of the cheetahs around here, so we think Solo's pretty lucky. Behind me there is the bungalow, so it's a nice heated area where Solo can go and hang out, and he also can hang out with the guests up there in that room. So if you're lucky enough to stay in the bungalow, then you might get to stay with Solo one time too. It goes all the way up the back there, so he's got different points where he can kind of see. Now if we get a little bit closer, you might be able to hear something. So Solo is actually purring at the moment. He does what we call a true purr. So it's inhale and exhale. And only cheetahs and mountain lions can do that. It's kind of an affectionate purr. It's to mean that he's happy, he's content. And it's basically what our house cats at home would do as well. We might go for a little walk and we'll see if Solo will follow us. Solo, come on. Where he's looking right now, he has a clear line down to where our food prep area is, and we like to say it's his favourite place to hang out when he's in here. Come on, Solo! Now, Solo being born at the zoo, it meant that we can kind of do a couple different things with him. We can actually take Solo on walks where we come in, we harness him up, put the lead on. Oh, he's a very camera person. He loves a good brush. So yeah, we can go on walks with him, take him out the back, and take him on a walk. And that is a walk as well that we can have people booked onto. Where we go, we like to call it Solo's Lookout, and he has this amazing view out over Scribner Dam, which is pretty awesome. Now, you might be able to see me covered in fur and fur coming off him. These guys have a kind of self-grooming coat. So instead of grooming themselves out in the wild, that's going to be putting them at a little bit of a risk. These guys have fur that'll simply just blow out in the wind. Or if he's walking through long grass, it's also going to stimulate the hair to move on it and blissfully come out, so he doesn't have to groom himself. Now I'll go quiet for a second and we'll see if we can hear that purr. It's quite a soothing noise. Now Solo is a fully grown cheetah at the moment. He weighs in at about 45 kilos. He is more on the petite side. Male cheetahs tend to be up around 50 kilos, 50 to 55, and females around 45 to 50. We're very lucky to have Solo's family here. So we've got his mum and his dad. We've got an auntie who lives with his mum. And then we've got his gorgeous uncle. Now Solo and his uncle Jura are our two ambassador cheetahs. And his parents and Zing, his auntie, are in our breeding program. Now Solo does do encounters every day. And we do love bringing guests in here, and he does love the attention from them as well. And he does love a good head scratch too. Alright guys, oh, he's going to get pretty comfy. Being a cat and a cheetah, these guys do sleep around 18 to 20 hours a day. And I think Solo could probably sleep more if he could. He does have his little playful times, and we do come and bring some games and some little toys in for him. Being a cheetah, these guys have to eat daily, so he'll eat about 1.7 kilos of meat every single day, unlike our tigers or our lions who will eat a lot more than that. Alright guys, I want to take this opportunity while Solo's here with us to thank you so much for joining us today. We really miss having you all here and we do hope to see you again. And make sure you keep an eye out on our Facebook page and our Instagram for more lives coming up in the future.